Well, hello everybody. I have big updates today as we watch Justin Trudeau and various premiers now launch into forced vaccine mandates. It's a war on the unvaccinated, and it brings me into much more on this video that people need to know. They need to share it out. Why, in all my research, I chose the Pfizer and the Pfizer protocols. There's big issues with Moderna here and the corruption of the Liberal Party, specifically Justin Trudeau. Now, a lot of you have shared videos. I've minimized a lot of it. I like to dig deep. When I make a video and I make statements, the things I say are backed up by clear evidence. Absolute, irrefutable kind of evidence. So that one, you don't get sued. Two, you can't be called a liar. And three, it stays up generally forever and there's nothing anybody can do about it. They won't take your name and say, oh, this guy lied about this. And once you do that, there's no going back. So I'm going to give you guys a big rundown of what's happened here in Canada, what Justin Trudeau personally has got involved with and what he's done. So the Moderna booster shots, as they scream, oh everybody, we must force vaccinate. We're going to start mandates through the provinces. You all see Quebec teen off on it. Anyone working for a crown corporation, you will be forced all kinds of things. I expect my job to be lost before March. I'm sure I'll be removed from my place of employment as it's tied to the federal crown. It's not a federal employer, but it's a provincial crown employer with strong ties to federal employer, basically federal crown. And there's also the federal crown employees working there. So I expect it to come, and here's what's happened. So I have followed the Pfizer protocol from start to finish. I was one of the original experimental Canadians. I stuck with that. I started with Operation Warp Speed. I was right on the ground with that. The original drafters and leading Republicans there are still there. Mitch McConnell needs help. There's a big war on Mitch McConnell, absolutely to usurp American Senate democracy. They're trying to make it so that you don't elect senators, and that basically is the Canadian system. It's a crown system of constitutional monarchies. That's where Joe Biden wants to go. He loves Justin Trudeau's system. All presidents, if they had a chance, whether it was communist China, the Republican system of Russia, or the Republican system democratically of the United States of America, executive powers of those presidents would love to take the crown power. They would love to, as they learn it. And that's the trick. We got to educate using the constitutions of those mighty institutions in place. Do not let the corruption of UK out of the bottle. Do not go backwards to a time before the victorious allies of World War II. Do not let the UN fall in the hands of absolutely those colonial systems of the past. They were outlawed and outlawed for good reason. But before I ramble off, let's get into the corruption. So Moderna, Cambridge, Massachusetts, all strong ties to the former Hudson Bay Company, Bank of England. All CEOs attached there hard, including Mr. Number One, President of the Board. He's Canadian. He is absolutely a crown colonial first class, absolutely from that system. It's old, established in Massachusetts long before the American Constitution as we know it today, and even after independence. Their Constitution much older than the United States. Cambridge there is very strong. Not good at all from the medical community, with strong ties to the Bank of England and the royal family, old as hell. So what's happened that's different for all Americans and absolutely now all Canadians? Justin Trudeau, the corrupt, filthy Justin Trudeau, destroyer of humanity, at least Canada's humanity, world leader of the NWO, enemy of America, enemy of Russia, public enemy number one, Justin Trudeau, made a financial deal and made sure that all boosters would switch you over to Moderna. No personal choice, he would force switch you. So anyone who started on the Pfizer protocol is to be booted off it. For example, myself, early vaccinated, as you all know, my lives are displayed. I have 2 days left before my booster is required to continue on Pfizer's protocol. I'll be virtually unvaccinated within 2 days. I'm probably already low on my antibodies. I will be forced through employment to do the tests every week, twice a week. I will be treated unvaccinated even though I followed the protocols. But Justin Trudeau wants me to switch over and help fill his bank account and go to Moderna. I won't do it because Canadians, I know the legal system. I know the protocols. If I switch over now, even though my 6 months comes up and I failed the Pfizer protocol, it was done by force. It was done by force from the federal government. More than that, with the trucking situation, as Canada goes with protocols that are not from the CDC, not approved at all by the American government, that Canada supposedly follows, we are going to lose tens of thousands of truckers, which loses supply and value chains from America. Get ready for massive shortages. Get ready for massive price hikes. It's coming quickly. Next time you go grocery shopping, probably a good time to load up. Probably a good time to load up. Canada's about to get very, very sick and unhealthy. The media is going to lie to you about this. I can assure you, I have close ties with even what a lot of you say is the left media, Bloomberg. I get to help articulate pieces. I get to do research for Bloomberg in the United States of America. People can be angry about that and say, hey, 75% of the writers are Democrats. Well, I'm an economist, ladies and gentlemen. Some of my work goes forward. At least I have a voice on that stage. I get to do that almost every other day. They send me stories before they're written. I get to add to them. I get to prove research. I've been doing that for already over a year. Check out supply and value chain stories from Bloomberg. You'll see what I'm talking about. So, this is what's happening. Forced vaccines coming via provinces. We're already seeing it. Quebec, and then now it looks like Mr. Biggs out of New Brunswick is going to be forcing it. Atlantic provinces wanting to go that way. The mandates for schools and employers, Alberta, Ontario, almost virtually the same. I know I get all emails of my children. I still am in charge of my children's health and their schooling. That's the judgment I got. Even though I don't have full custody, I absolutely am in charge of education and health. I get all of it notified. There's no difference between Alberta and Ontario when it comes to kids not in school, kids being forced to do the mandated testing. Just like I'm forced to mandate to test to hold my job. I am many months away from getting my third dose. Even though I booked early, I was completely screwed over by the Liberal Party of Canada via Doug Ford. You can go all over Canada. You'll find every single Crown Premier adopted this strategy. They all followed suit with Justin Trudeau. Now everybody, why? Because they're all making money. That's true, but it's also they are all allowed to keep their crown powers, their full autocracy intact. It's be a real conservative or be a crown colonial autocrat. Keep your crown. They all want to keep their crown. They would rather make money, rape, pillage, plunder you, start a war against unvaccinated, and hey, I look at it. If you're unvaccinated with no other reason, great. But if you can't get on the protocol because your government officials are physically removing you from manufacturers' stated protocols, that's not a vaccine program. That's called absolute corruption of government. That's called forced genocide. We've seen it. All the mothers who were told to vaccinate, that's murder, possibly murder coming in the future, because I'll tell you, no CDC, FDA with these experimental vaccines. And yes, they've always been experimental with great data. I'm lucky. The States 3 months ahead of me. Americans went out there. They went out there with their choice, not forced or mandated. Their choice to do it. They chose to do it. Brave souls did that. I'm lucky. I had 3 months of their data to make my decisions. I jumped on the protocol. The difference is all Americans get to stay on the manufacturer's protocols, meaning all data from the States, those who didn't mix vaccines, for all future generations for years to come, you'll be able to see the real data. Trudeau turned around and corrupted all the data, absolutely, by throwing in forced Moderna, breaching Pfizer's protocols, ruining Canada's study. All Canadians now will not have a legitimate study. You can't prove which vaccine did what. Good luck in the future ever proving anything. In legal precedents, that is the law common to all. Common law in this country and in the United States. When a judge makes a decision, that's called precedent law, meaning judges have to rule on that precedent. Similar cases, that's your common law and nothing else. Now we're screwed. We're screwed forever. I am not going to be forced to do Moderna. I'm already going to be late. It doesn't matter. I've already gotten set up to do Pfizer. It's going to be many, many months. In fact, it may be by March before it's available. But will the supply chains have it? Likely not. Justin Trudeau has mandated that all Pfizer Canadians, if you weren't fortunate to be in a riding protected by one of the leaders, whether that's in Vancouver for Jagmeet Singh, whether that's in Quebec for Justin Trudeau, or whether that's in Ontario for Erin O'Toole, if you weren't in one of those leaders' ridings, then guess what? You're being forced to switch over to Moderna. That's generally it. All First Peoples for sure are being forced to switch over. This is the corruption of Canada. This has to be shared. This is backed up, credible, verifiable, and absolutely 100% true. Justin Trudeau is an ugly, dirty, corrupt son of a bitch. And it's not just him, it's all federal leaders. Absolutely the bought and paid for media. We are not following the CDC in any way, shape, or form. We are making up our own system via Justin Trudeau and his corruption in many organizations. And yes, there are billionaires who want to make money, who will exploit any country to get their ends and their means. The royal family owns many of these. I could write for a whole series, like an encyclopedia, on all the deep ties of the royal family to all their corruption, all of it worldwide through the Bank of England. I could do that, including the United States. However, the issue is when your government in a centralized system forces you to adopt it. Now, America, those options are all there, but the individual has a choice to say, fuck you, I don't want to do it. I'm going to do this, or I choose this, or I'm not going to participate. That is your choice. That's called freedom. That's called constitutionalism, for the people, by the people. The only real one, absolutely worldwide, that's the United States of America. Anybody else is a liar. Now, in division of powers, There are states like Massachusetts with an extremely old constitution, regionally older than the United States, where you will find Hudson Bay companies attached to the Bank of England still there, and absolutely the royal family. They're making a shitload of money here. And they mandate the Commonwealth Charter 2012, that Justin Trudeau, through Stephen Harper, who was the crown before Justin Trudeau, who made all the money before Justin Trudeau. Now it's Trudeau who makes the money, and he's exploiting it. Liberals always exploit everything 10 times worse than conservatives, but conservatives do it too. In fact, they come up with a lot of it. They're no ignorance to the crown. These assholes know what they're doing. You people, you know, you, the second, third class, and absolutely the first peoples of Canada, you don't exist in the Constitution of Canada. You never have. The Charter is embedded in the middle of the Constitution with Crown-powered overrides, which ultimately mean there is no power of the people, and the Charter is only applicable if that Crown-elected autocrat says it is, and whomever they appoint decides if the Charter applies to you or a whole group of you. And often they throw it in the garbage anytime they want. The Crown has King's Court, meaning the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court, and the Superior Court can be overridden, absolutely, just like Hitler did as Chancellor, because that's the power was of Nazi Germany before the Allies took it away. They rewrote the Constitution, they did dismemberment, and they removed the power of Chancellor in absolute Crown colonial autocracy. They removed that Crown power from Chancellor, which is the same definition as Canada's Governor General, because Canada wrote it first. They took it from UK and they kept it since 1867. That's what's happened here, and we're still like that today. That's what's wrong with Canada. It's why you don't really have a common law. You have a first-class autocrat's precedent. Whatever they want to set as precedent anytime they want. They can change the Superior Court justices by forcing them to rule any way they want through their lieutenant governors. They can do this through Governor General. It is an abomination to the idea of common law. I'm writing a major paper invited by the Republicans, absolutely highest level of Republicans. In fact, Republicans worth more than absolutely Donald Trump. He's worth a lot, but I'm hooked up with Republicans who are worth even more than him. That's the truth. And I'm in with Bloomberg and many top Democrats. I'm getting my voice. I even have a voice on the Russian stage. In less now than 12 days, I will be giving them a presentation directly. I have their personal emails. I'm not disclosing that to anybody. I will make a YouTube video for that, as well as do a Facebook Live and show it. I will share the link. I will show it on Twitter, absolutely publicly, to all of those included. You'll all get to see it. I can't beat the Canadian system, not as a third-class citizen. I need to get to the United States of America. I've got to get a visa. I have to pursue citizenship. That's what I'm going to do, everybody. It's a long war. It's not going to end. Canada's about to get much, much uglier. It's only going to get worse. Please share. Get it out there. I don't care who hates me. You're going to find a lot of socialists, a lot of supposed conservatives, a lot of NDPers, a lot of liberals, all in one group, hiding under different banners, all fully embrace the crown, love divine socialism, love it, love it, love it. It's called the institutionalized Canadian. I see it with union workers. I have even people I know in my personal life trying to do it. They post statements that are false. I never say these things. You'll never find a video, a public rally or on-stage event that I've ever done or said that backs up any of these claims people are saying I said or did. It's not true. You can't find any recording. You won't find anything written. You will find nothing of the such. It's completely false. That's the way the world works. There's a lot of sick Canadians. They're in a major majority. We have a weak health system because it's corrupted by an upper first class that is elected and appointed. They've been raping and exploiting taxpayers for all time. Because in our Constitution, both provincially and federally, in Section 91 and 92, the government is allowed to tax you by any mode, means necessary, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. The emergency executive powers that are only matched by Adolf Hitler in 1933's Enabling Act, that can't be done in Germany anymore. It's impossible because the Allies removed it. As was made in South Africa pre-1984 under apartheid, those acts, the Constitutional Act of South Africa before 1984 abolished, can't be done again today. The Allies removed all that because it was built just like Canada, because both Adolf Hitler and all elected autocrats of South Africa before 1984 all adopted Canada's system. It's not the United States, that's a lie. I have all the history. We're going to show you. Are there regions like in Massachusetts where there's older constitutions than the federal constitutions that empower the monarch to reign supreme in places like Boston or in Cambridge, Massachusetts, in institutions that usurp democracy and impose their will? Sure. And when you get an autocrat like Justin Trudeau who makes a multi-billion-dollar deal so that he can be wealthy forever, well, so many of you are removed from the protocol, and then he'll call you unvaccinated because you are following the CDC, you are following the manufacturer's protocols, but Justin Trudeau wants to take that away from you because he's corrupt, and the premiers are following suit because they want their crown and they're corrupt too. There's a problem, and the media won't tell anybody about this. They won't tell you how grievously this is wrong, how there's no way to track any or prove any absolute vaccine injuries whatsoever if you leave your manufacturer's protocols. If a pregnant woman gets vaccinated and there's issues with the child, good luck. You were told not to do it by the CDC. You were told not to do it by all vaccine companies. They told you don't do it. But Justin Trudeau said do it. All provincial health ministries said do it, with absolutely nothing from the manufacturer to allow that to go through. Thanks. That's my video. Share, share, share. Tell the truth. Hold your politicians to account. Make your stand today. They'll fire me likely from work. It'll be coming down the pipeline, or they'll make such impossible restrictions placed on me that I won't be able to work. I just want a letter from the company stating that. I want to take that with me to the P5. This may be the way, everybody, how to take Canada down. I hope it is. I would love to see the Allies destroy Canada as they destroyed Nazi Germany, Japan, post-1945, South Africa, post-1984. It took a while. We can get this done. We just got to show them. We just have to educate them. We have to do some changes in American and Russian academia. There's things that have been lost. Like I said, even Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I can show you pictures of Donald Trump at the time that America had rolled all this out, and the American institution in executive power understood it. Russia's the Soviet Union understood it. But what was Vladimir Putin at that time? Nothing. He was a swimmer inside his dad. Donald Trump had a finger in his nose, walking around in diapers. So did Joe Biden. That's the truth. It's sad. They just don't know any better, and somebody's got to bring it back front and center, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'll die trying if that's what it takes. Share, share, share. Get it out there. This is very, very important. Bye now.